And we're off. All right. That means we're off. Okay. Last week, we ended up 1 Corinthians 7 by basically dealing with Paul's use and his study of virgins. And we talked about that on last week because we dealt with that in relationship to the married and the unmarried. And we looked at those virgins as either being bound or loosed. Either they're going to be married or they're not married, then they're loosed, meaning that they're not married. But either way, in being a virgin, first thing that always, most of the time, comes to our mind that we talked about on last week, you always think about lady, young lady. But that's not what Paul dealt with. He dealt with the men. We always think, man, being a virgin, man, something wrong with you, really? Why? That's what Paul promoted. See, immediately when we see the word virgin, we always think of girl. What about the men? Because that's what Paul thought was. Men being virgins. That is the promotion of those things. That they should be. That they should be in that. And then they could either be married or unmarried. You're married, of course, you're not going to be a virgin long. But if you're not married, you should remain. Because now you should be giving yourself unto the Lord. And when we went through that last part of 1 Corinthians 7, we talked about how they that are bound, that is married, have to give themselves unto their spouse. So they care for the things of this world. When he says care for, he didn't mean that that's their focus. But you have to do things of this world. You have to buy a house, you have to buy land, you have to buy a car. You know, when we bring it up to date for us. Back then, they had to go get donkeys. They had to try out land. You know, they had to make sure that the field was proper. Because now you're taking care of a person. So you have to do things of this world without necessarily loving the world. But you have to care for the things of this world because you have to fix yourself on that. But if you're loosed, you should be you and God. Period. Nothing else. Sure, you may have a job, you may have a car, you may have a little apartment, whatever else like that. But your relationship is just you and God. And that's your concentration. And too often we get our concentration on other things because we want to be bound so bad, we mess ourselves up. That we're not looking to Christ, who we should be married to. And that's what Paul was dealing with at that time. We should be married. If we're loosed, we should be married to Christ. And we should stay that way in constant relationship with him. If you are to be married, he's not going to pass you by. If you're to be married, he's going to let you know. He's going to send, if you're a woman, he's going to send the Ephesians 5 man to you. Because you remain, what we're going to talk about tonight, a Proverbs 31 woman. If you're Ephesians 5 man, you're going to find that Proverbs 31 woman. If you're to be married, it will be. But if you're single, keep your eyes on God and just keep your relationship with him. Everything else, he will provide. He will make it known. He will bring it to pass. It's when we try to fix things that we end up with a problem. So that's where 1 Corinthians 7 ends. So tonight we're starting out in Proverbs 31. Looking at this virtuous woman. What is virtuous? What does the word virtuous mean? What does the word virtuous mean? You know it's an adjective. What does it mean? When they talk about this virtuous woman that Lemuel, his mother. Now, this is the thing. This is his mother. He's a king. His mother is speaking to him as to what type of woman he wants to look for. She tells him in the first part of Proverbs 31, what, my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroys kings. So there she warns him. Says, don't give yourself over to women like that. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in that. You're the king. Don't put yourself in that situation. Now, he was not a king of northern kingdom, nor was he a king of the southern kingdom of Judah. He was a king of another nation. But his mother had enough of a relationship with the Lord God Almighty to speak to her son and say, don't go running after women. Don't put yourself out there like that. Don't get drunk. Don't get into the wine. Don't get into the strong drink. Don't do things like that. You'll mess up your kingdom. But she starts at verse 10 and tells him, this is what you should be looking for. Now, this is not a man describing a woman. This is a woman, an older woman, describing what a woman that you should be looking for to be your wife. And this is what she's telling her son. This is the type of woman you need to be looking for to be your wife. Nothing less. This is a virtuous woman. So, we get back to this again. What does virtuous mean?
According to the NIV Bible, it says noble. Woman of a wife of noble character.
Say what?
According to the NIV version, it says noble, a wife of noble character.
Okay. Wife of noble character. What's noble character? That's a good one. I like that. So a virtuous woman is a woman of noble character. So what's noble character? What would we expect if I'm looking for a woman of noble character? What am I looking for?
Her name is in good standing.
Huh?
Her name is in good standing.
Name in good standing. What? Righteous.
Distinguished.
Extinguished. Okay. We can say extinguished. Extinguished.
I said this.
Oh. You very extinguished. What else are we looking for?
I was thinking of the word pure as well.
Pure. Okay. So his mother's telling him, don't sell yourself short. You're the king. You're to find a woman that make you look like a king. You hear what I'm talking about? See, we're putting the women under the microscope tonight. Men, maybe a week or two from now, we're going to be up under the microscope. Depending upon how far we're going next. But the woman is under the microscope tonight. Of what she's supposed to be. And if I'm the king, this is what I'm supposed to be looking for. Nothing less. And too often, we settle. We get what we get. And then we look at this and we say, man, why aren't you? But you the king. You got what you got. This is why we ended 1 Corinthians 7 dealing with virgins, men, and women. Because you got to know how to present yourself in your relationship with the Lord God Almighty and His Son, Jesus Christ, so that you have your